Hey, hello, how do you do? An absurd existence here. Did you know that in the summer of 2017, over 10 years after Danger Doom dropped The Mouse and the Mask, that Doom and Adult Swim would team up once more to bring fans a new MF Doom project titled The Missing Notebook Rhymes.
Doom is back, and this time he's bringing some friends along for the ride. Get ready for a peek at The Missing Notebook Rhymes. 15 all-new Doom bangers dropping every week. Go to adultswim.com/Doom right now and check them out for free.
I remember how surreal it felt to see MF Doom on my TV of all things, since he's usually the type to stray from the limelight. Aside from astonishment, I was pretty excited, as I'm sure many of you were, to hear some new Doom music. But little did we know that halfway through this promising collaboration that most of the songs would remain missing. Looking back nearly 5 years now, we're really no closer to knowing what officially happened to those remaining songs. Or are we? If you're watching this channel, according to my analytics, you're probably part of the 90% of people who are not subscribed. And if you'd like to see more content where I discuss Doom and other topics I'm passionate about, consider subscribing. And if you'd like to support an independent YouTuber, please leave a like on this video. Thank you. And without further ado, let's start this video off by establishing what the Missing Notebook Rhymes even was, as I'm sure there's a handful of you who have never heard of this project before. And that's okay. It's not nearly as widespread as something like Mad Villainy or Food. The Missing Notebook Rhymes was a project that was meant to be released over the course of 15 weeks. You see, every year Adult Swim releases free music from different artists over the course of the summer months. And in 2017, Doom and Adult Swim decided to reunite to put out this new Doom project as part of their singles program. So instead of being dropped all at once, a new MF Doom track would be released every week throughout the summer. And that's why the Missing Notebook Rhymes had such an odd release schedule. As for the contents of the project itself, according to Doom, each track would correlate to a notebook that went missing at Metal Face Records, shortly after Doom was denied re-entry into the US, back in the early 2010s. As Adult Swim's vice president and creative director Jason DeMarco put it, I feel like it's been a long time since Doom has really had a big splash of tracks. I think it'd be really cool to just drop them all, and do one every week, and let people know Doom is back. One thing that I love about this whole collaboration is that DeMarco is just as much of a Doom fan as the rest of us, and clearly wanted this project to be a sweeping success, not just for his network, but for Doom and all the fans as well. And I think it goes without saying that this announcement alone had many Doom fans excited, especially since, as Jason DeMarco mentioned, this would have been Doom's newest project in years. Unfortunately, however, in late September, only 7 songs in, the project was scrapped, and Adult Swim announced that they had cut ties with the villain. An Adult Swim spokesperson told Mass Appeal that the remaining Missing Notebook Rhymes will remain missing. For whatever reason, Mass Appeal has since deleted that article, but we can still visit the page through archives. I'll be leaving a link to it and all my other sources in a pastebin link in the description. With that being said, there's obviously a lot of questions that have been left unanswered. The main 2 I'd like to analyze are as follows. 1. What exactly caused Doom and Adult Swim to so abruptly end their partnership? And 2. What happened to the remaining Missing Notebook Rhymes? Starting with the first question, we actually do have some new information which wasn't available when I initially covered this topic. Originally, the most popular theory was that the Missing Notebook Rhymes was just a villainous troll from the very beginning. This theory began to take hold when a hidden message was found embedded within the page that hosted the Missing Notebook Rhymes. Within the code of the page, a secret message listed the title for track 7 as "It's All a Lie," featuring Jason Marco, which is just 2 letters off from Jason DeMarco. And although this has never been elaborated on, I think it's safe to say that this was just probably someone who worked at Adult Swim having a little fun at our expense. And while sure it's true that Doom has a past of messing with his fans, the same can't really be said for Adult Swim. Adult Swim has proven time and time again over the course of many years that they truly do care about their audience. For example, in 2012, despite it not being in their budget, Adult Swim brought back Taname just because they knew that the fans wanted it bad enough. Even Adult Swim's singles program, the very same platform which brought us the Missing Notebook Rhymes, was made by Adult Swim to bring us free music. There's an additional 2 theories which I covered in my initial video on this topic, and while they're all but obsolete at this point, if you're still interested in watching that video, it'll be available for all my channel members across every tier. Luckily though, instead of needing to theorize and speculate, we now know what officially happened between Doom and Adult Swim. And shortly after Doom's unfortunate passing, Jason DeMarco went on Twitter to pay his respects and share some stories that he had about Doom. DeMarco described Doom as a chaotic energy but a sweet goofball who just wanted to hang out and tell stories. Because of his charisma, Doom got DeMarco to do a lot of things that he would have never done for anyone else. And this next part is kinda crazy to me. DeMarco states that after Danger Doom came out and did so well, he got Adult Swim to sign Doom an additional record deal for a second album. They hooked him up with a $45,000 advance, only for Doom to never deliver. DeMarco was a little bit miffed, seeing as Doom had compromised his livelihood and his position at Adult Swim, which DeMarco stated, and rightfully so, as a step too far. But as time went on, eventually DeMarco was willing to forgive Doom. Fast forward to 2017, he heard that Doom was interested in working with him again. And after several talks with his management, they came up with the idea of the missing notebook rhymes. With everything in place and set to go, Adult Swim began to advertise and eventually began releasing the weekly tracks. This, however, is where the issues began to arise. According to DeMarco, there was multiple issues with the set of tracks that Doom gave him. For one, Doom hadn't paid the producers or cleared any of the samples. To make matters worse, Doom also owed music to a record label, and anything Doom released, the label had claim over. These glaring issues are what ultimately caused Adult Swim to discontinue the missing notebook rhymes. And most painfully for the network, they ended up having to pay out a lot of money to different parties. And once again, Jason DeMarco took heat from his bosses for going back to Doom, despite his previous antics. When his bosses asked why he would work with Doom again despite their past, DeMarco simply replied with, "It's Doom. He's one of the greatest to ever do it." And in my opinion, that's a pretty valid answer. In his closing thoughts, DeMarco ended off with saying, "I'm not sorry I gave Doom another shot. Even if it didn't work out for me, Doom was a mess, a genius, and a goofball who loved cartoons. And I loved him, even after he fucked us over, because he was just that special." Moving on to the second question, unlike the first, there really hasn't been any new developments since my initial upload on this topic. With that being said, the speculation surrounding the remaining tracks is still pretty interesting. As we know, there was supposed to be a total of 15 tracks in total, however only 7 of them were officially released. This Reddit user speculates that the unreleased notebook rhymes were actually uploaded to the Metal Face SoundCloud page. It's not super well known, but Metal Face is the name of Doom's record label. Do keep in mind though that there isn't any definitive proof that these are truly the remaining missing notebook rhymes, so take this with a grain of salt. There are however a couple key details which to me significantly add to this theory. For one, now that we know Doom owed music to a record label, it makes a little more sense that Doom would quietly upload the music for free onto his SoundCloud page, which this record label probably still has no clue exists. The tracks also began to be posted only 3 weeks after Adult Swim cut ties with Doom. Additionally, as we know, there was only 7 tracks released through the Adult Swim run, and there just so happens to be 8 songs posted onto the Metal Face SoundCloud page, with the exception of one song which was posted by the producer of the track onto his own page, which the Metal Face SoundCloud then reposted onto their page. Counting all these tracks together would give us 15 songs in total, the same amount that was supposed to be released, which seems to line up too perfectly to be a coincidence. If Doom were to have been posting on that SoundCloud since say, 2015 for example, this theory would be a little more unsubstantiated. But the fact that the tracks began to be posted so shortly after Doom and Adult Swim cut ties makes this pretty believable to me, on top of the other details. And that's pretty much all there is to that theory, which in my opinion, despite not having any official confirmation, is still pretty believable. I really wish there was more to say about this project lore-wise, but everything I've listed in this video is pretty much all the information we have. It would have been interesting to hear Doom talk a little more about these supposed notebooks he lost, or even just to hear Doom and his management's perspective on this whole deal. Were they really trying to curb the label who Doom owed music to? A lot of record labels are pretty predatory, so I wouldn't even blame him. But either way, much like most things relating to our favorite supervillain, we'll pretty much never know the full extent to any of these things I just mentioned. For anyone who's interested in checking out the project for themselves, I've taken it upon myself to create a Google Drive folder for all the fans who have never listened to the project before, and even to those who just want to revisit it. The folder contains the 7 official tracks and the additional 8 songs from the SoundCloud. I thought it'd be helpful to have all the songs easily accessible in one single place. I'll leave a link to it in the description. I also figured I'd remove the original video I made on this topic since it's pretty much outdated at this point. But for anyone who's still interested in watching that piece of content, as I mentioned earlier, it'll be available to my channel members across every tier. To become a member, simply click the join button below and select any tier you'd like. Keep in mind however that the True Absurdist tier and above will give you access to additional content. With that being said, I'd like to give a thanks to my existing channel members as well as my supporters on Patreon and Twitch. Mr. Kata, Johnny Brown, El Jumpo, MF Dumar, Neon Rose, Elliot Goldman, MP, Anthony Brown, Caboose Cybot, Striker, Blank Saint, Victor, Soviet Delk, Alterbrap, Guap, Bull, and our most generous member, Brian Mark. Thank you all for your continuous support, it really does help the channel out. I'm looking forward to this next video I'm working on, and it should be out sooner rather than later. Keep an eye out for it, or turn on notifications to make sure you don't miss it. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys again very soon.